What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Asio Maniji. Asio. What's going on, chat? Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. Smash that share button. Go ahead and drop comments in the chat. Y'all know what it is. This is Dr. Chief, this Sunflower, back with another live video. Uh-oh. What's up, CB Kicks? Supreme. How y'all feeling? Supreme evening, I meant to say. Listen, as you can see from the title, this live is just going to be talking a little bit about this fake ass holiday that's coming up. I've been really studying pretty heavy this week. I learned so much history. I'm not going to present it right now because it's just a lot. And honestly, yeah, it's just a lot. And I don't even know where to start because, I mean, I've been reading about the Vatican and all type of shit, y'all. So there's no way I celebrate 4th of July anymore. No more. As a Niji, learning who my history is, I just can't do it anymore. But I've been stopped celebrating 4th of July probably a couple years ago. So if you find it ironic that Trump's big, beautiful bill is getting passed around this time, 4th of July, everything is like so scandalous and planned with y'all government. I say y'all government because it damn sure ain't mine. At least I don't want it to be. At least it's not my choice. It wouldn't be my choice. You know. The 4th of July is just another one of those holidays where it's just a celebration of colonization. Celebration of pseudo history and war and just inequality, just like most holidays, most man-made holidays. You know, I am excited to see the Niji moving. I'm so excited to see the knowledge being shared and people just continuing to wake up. So today is no different. Now, honestly, guys, I did not really want to go live today, but I'm trying to keep this consistency challenge going. It is very tough. I can tell y'all that, to show up during the growing season when you kind of not where you want to be. It's so easy to quit, but I'm still here showing up, and just trying not to give up on going live. I'm trying my best not to give up on this challenge, but it is tough. Today we had a busy day. You know, in the world of dentalpreneurship, I don't even know if that's a word, but very, very busy day, tiring day. I have a backache, and I just need a massage. But I'm live just to talk to you guys and chit chat and check in on my audience, checking on my supporters, and not go ghost. Because I can tend to go ghost, because I'm half introvert, half extrovert, and I will go ghost. I'm fine with ghosting, but that's not consistent if I ghost. So, yeah. Hello to all of my new followers on all the platforms. I definitely appreciate you guys for chilling with me, hanging out. So yeah, the reason why I really don't celebrate 4th of July is just because I learned who I am. I learned the true meaning of it, just like I learned the true meaning of several holidays. But 4th of July to me is just, yeah, I can't get down. I can't get down with you no more. I can't get down. Now, because I am here and I did learn a lot. I mean, a lot, guys. I might as well dive into what I learned and just spill the beans. Just spill the beans, Dr. Sean. Just spill the fucking beans. Like, stop beating around the bush. You know me. New Nietzsche because it's in my DNA. Oh man, what's going on with the video? What's going on? Aggravating. Something is going on with my video. Sorry about that. The struggles of being a streamer. I'm gonna get it together, guys. You know, that's the thing about a journey. It is not always perfect, and that's totally okay. Especially when you live, it's like, what? What happened? I don't know what happened. Maybe I hit something. I don't know. But where was I? So I just been doing a lot of studying, reading, so much about history. Like, I don't think we have time tonight. But I can make time, but you know. So watching one of the Chiefs video, it finally hit me why people keep saying um, like chattel slavery. This word slavery keeps popping up. It kind of hit me why they keep saying about the birth certificate has trust. And I looked all of this stuff up because I mean I keep hearing this shit. And me coming from being a Christian, coming from being very religious, coming from, you know, identifying with ancestors in slavery just because I learned it in school, I'm on the other side of the coin now. I don't identify as that anymore because I did my genealogy. 4th of July is the best time to do your genealogy instead of celebrating, popping fireworks. In my eyes, the fireworks symbolize like the massacres that happened. You know how they had the cannons and the 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 tools, the heavy machinery, the military force. That's what the fireworks symbolize to me, and it's just so evil. Like it just looks evil to me now. Like before, it's like, oh my God, fireworks. You know, you have your stars and the strike. You just like you all brainwashed. You're just celebrating it. You don't even know why. They gave you a holiday off, so you feel like you're obligated to kind of celebrate this BS. But pay attention to what's going on in the world, guys. Most people not going to tell you this because either they're brainwashed, they scared of who they are, they allow colonization to really grab them by the choke. Grab them in the chokehold and slam them against the wall. You know, I was once that person. But see, I'm a reader and comprehender, and I understand. I understand what be going on in history, and the things that I find, it makes me cry a lot of the times because I'm like, what the? What? That's what I be like. Like, what? You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me! The things that I read will make you cry. Make you cry. Make you cry. Make you cry. Oh my gosh. It make you cry when you realize just the world that we live in. Just even the fact that, you know, they passed this big, beautiful bill. They name these things all this crazy stuff, and it's all propaganda, guys. So what led me down the rabbit hole this time? You want to know what led me down the rabbit hole this time? I'm going to tell you. I got time today. Get you something to drink, cause baby, listen. Dang, I'm out of water. It's a little dry. My cups is dry. My cup is dry. But Maybe I'll take a little break halfway to go get something to drink, because maybe this is the perfect lesson for today. As we get ready to, well, not we, as people get ready to pop fireworks and, you know, honor the president and honor the wars and feel so like heroes and all of this BS. Don't even fall for it, my Niji. Know what you're celebrating. Know what it means. We have gotten so stuck in the now that we forget the past. But when it comes to who you are, the past is super important. This is why they said if you want to hide something from a slave, well, not a slave, but an Nigga, put it in a book. You know, they never thought that the Niji would wake up and start reading these things and putting the things together and just understanding what's going on. And I understand it clear as day, more than a lot of people probably would. Along with the chiefs who teach me this information, the chiefess who teach me this information is shocking. And when I get it, I'm not the person who's gonna be like, what? And just believe things for face value. I'm the person who's gonna be like, what you saying? Okay, if what you saying is true, I should be able to find it myself. And I'll be finding it myself. And I'm like, what the hell? So, if this sounds foreign to you, then, you know, that's not ironic. It's meant to sound foreign. And it's meant for us to be brainwashed. Alright? To celebrate holidays where we don't even know the origin. And understanding the origin of who you are is super duper imperative to your spirit and your soul. Like your soul. We are soul men and women. And nothing is worse than somebody snatching your soul. You know how that feeling feel when you just feel like somebody just snatch your soul, they just snatch your energy? Yeah, you may not know it, but it feels like when you work paycheck to paycheck, or it feels like when you feel depressed all the time, or it feels like, dang, you try to get ahead in life and it seems like it's so hard. It feels like something just doesn't make sense. That's what it feels like when your soul is snatched. When it feels like something is trying to break your soul. But hey, listen, I'm a part of the beehive and you want to break my soul. You want to break my soul. It's impossible for you to break my soul. Because knowledge is the antidote when somebody try to break your soul. It's knowledge, guys. It's not ignorance. One of the presidents wrote, James Madison, I think it is. I can't stand none of the presidents. I just can't, because I know who they are, I know their history. It's just like all disgusting. He said, knowledge will forever govern ignorance. Knowledge. So if you like, I'm ignoring that, I don't care about that, then that's the ignorance that they're talking about. They're saying the knowledge that they have will forever govern the ignorant ass people. The shoe fits, wear it. See me, yeah, I be trying to crack the code. So what rabbit hole did I go down today? And do I need my visuals? Let's pull up a visual. Let's see if we can pull up a visual. Because, you know, people be throwing around the Webster Dictionary. Webster Dictionary, like, you know what I'm saying? They be like, but the Webster Dictionary said. Webster Dictionary said. This is why origin is important. This is why origin is important, guys. So let me pull up mine. Let's see. Alright. We in business. Y'all. So it say the Webster, they be like, the Webster Dictionary definition said this and said that. Yeah, they act like they clocking tea and shit. Okay, who is this guy, you ask? This is Noah Webster. Noah Webster. I don't really like this picture because it's kind of far back, but you know, you get the picture. Noah Webster. So who the fuck is Noah Webster? Who is this guy? Why you talking about him, Dr. Sean? Like what? What Noah got to do with me? What do Noah got to do with me, a Neji, American Indian, indigenous, autochthonous, whatever you want to call it? Well, it's really not whatever. It should be highly respected. But what I'm saying is, you get the picture. What does he have to do with the Neji? What does he have to do with the sovereign people of Turtle Island? Noah Webster. Webster's Dictionary? Alright? So Noah Webster was born 1758 and he died 1843. And he was an American educator, author, and lexicographer. I don't know if I'm really saying that last word right. Lexicographer. That's what it looks like. Lexicographer. And he was most known for creating the first American dictionary in 1828. Some of my grandparents' Census Bureau records go back older than the dictionary that he created. Well, people like Webster's Dictionary, well, my census that I found to do my genealogy is older than the Webster's Dictionary. But anywho, I digress. Let's carry on. So, he created the first American dictionary, an American dictionary of the English language, right? So he was basically rewriting the English language, because the English language is not really from Caucasian people. It's from the swarthy men in England, because England was melanated before it was colonized. And we'll get into that later. You know, just bear with me, get you something to drink, because I'm going to be a while. I feel like this is a good time for me to just lay it all out there, especially for tomorrow before y'all get deep into the festivities. I mean, let's reel you back in, okay? So, he simplified British English spelling, such as color, C-O-L-O-U-R. That's why you see color spelled that way. And it became color, C-O-L-O-R. And added distinctly American words. So he was playing around with words. And why was he doing this? Why was Noah Webster so invested in the 1800s, 1828 to be exact, when he first created the dictionary? Why was he doing this? Why? All right. So nationalism through language was his goal. He wanted to promote nationalism, unite the whole nation, to make them believe one thing. That was his goal through language. He was in love with the language, and he knew that language could provide some type of control. He believed controlling language also controlled your thoughts. So when people go and looking stuff up on Webster's Dictionary, this is a colonized dictionary. Be careful. Everything that you see ain't fucking gold. You gotta read things with a grain of salt and always have your eye outside of the matrix. Okay? So he made a language that aligned with American political ideals. So the dictionary aligns with colonization, right? And it had a lot of religious tone in the dictionary. So this colonizer came with his grandparents and stuff, decided to make the American dictionary. You know, they got rid of the indigenous language, and yeah. He also had early text was like the blue backed speller. The blue backed speller, infused with Christian values, nationalism, and obedience to authority. What that got to do with the dictionary? Obedience to authority? Let's keep going. Okay. So Noah was not just defining words, he was defining the worldview of new colonizing nation and erasing indigenous cosmology, anthropology, language, and power all through the vocabulary. Yeah. So when people be throwing up, well, the Webster Dictionary said this is just a man. They just took off the Noah and named it Webster, and just this is his words that he probably stole from the indigenous language and put it in a new book and colonized it. So that was Webster. Now, he's not the only one who published books that were of a colonizing tone. Publishing houses dictated school curriculum for the Neji, the copper tone, this color, melanated people on Turtle Island. You won't know if you're Neji until you do your genealogy. If you think you're from Africa and you didn't do your genealogy, you're probably indigenous to America. But, you got to do your genealogy. There's no skipping that one step. Like, don't argue with nobody. Don't tell me where I'm from. I'm not going to tell you where you're from. Just do your genealogy and see where you're from. 9 times out of 10, if your census bureau says you Negro, color, all of this, you're indigenous to America. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but the truth shall make you free. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance. Why would Noah take his time and do something like this? Because they knew, like he said, they could control the language, they could control your thought. Just think about it as we carry on. All right. So the school system wasn't designed to educate us, the Neji, the indigenous copper tone people of Turtle Island. It was designed to assimilate, erase, and program us. So erase our indigenous language, everything about us, everything about our ancestors before colonizers arrived. They wanted to erase that and program us to work, program us to be paycheck to paycheck, program us to be broken spirited all the time, program us to feel down and out and like the world is in it, just always thinking that the politics is the answer. Programmed, brainwashed, part of the matrix system. Okay? So some of these I heard in school, I heard them myself. Some of my textbook came from the people I'm about to talk about next. Some of my textbooks came from these people. So let's see if we can pull them up. Because I like to put the visual with the faces. Let's see. Let's put the visual with the faces. So this is a publisher, one of them. Magoffy Reader. So Magoffy Readers, 1836, guys. You probably never heard this before. Magoffy Readers, 1836. 1836. So these were morality-based school books. So they forced these into school back in the 1800s when school became mandatory. When they said, okay, indigenous people, okay, Neji, you can do your own schools. Everything that you do has to be through us, because we pretty much own your ass now. So we're going to give you the books we want you to read. Don't read no books but what we tell you. So now you hear a lot of book bans going around. Even to this day, they ban books, especially in my home state of Florida. But a book ban on me, you can't read it. What you going to do? Beat me up for reading a book? Lock me up for reading a book? Back in the day, yeah, that would happen. But let's carry on. So Magoffy Readers, 1836. These were morality-based school books used for over 100 years. 100 years, preaching Eurocentric Christianity, patriotism, and white superiority. White superiority. And they were preaching now in the school for 100 years. 100 years or more. It said over 100 years. Preaching Eurocentric Christianity, patriotism like 4th of July, and white superiority. It wasn't teaching nothing else. Christianity, white superiority, and patriotism. And this is what they were using in the school when they started forcing the kids to go to school. Okay? Now, let's take that away for a second. McGaughey Reader. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. Uh-oh. So I'm just trying to find. I just saw. I don't have time to go into it now, but yeah. And if you have time, dig into the McGaughey Readers from back in the day. Okay, so we're gonna keep it moving. Next is Houghton, Mifflin, Prentice Hall, and Harcourt. Major textbooks publishers in the 20th century shaping school content. So they are the ones who made the content, made the curriculum for the school, and they also made it very Christianized, religious, and patriotic. Patriotic. hmm I don't know if we'll be able to. Oh, there is Princeton Hall. All right. And then the Texas School Board still to this day dictates what happens to most U.S. textbooks due to the volume of purchases. So colonization was also through the school, through the textbook. We can control the narrative through the dictionary, like Noah Webster. We can control the language, which means we could control the mind of the Niji. All right. How did this strategy work on the Niji? It removed the Niji spiritual system, our tribal law, and indigenous science. Okay? It replaced our heroes with presidents who enslaved and authorized genocide. It painted colonizers as civilizers and enslaved as grateful and uncivilized. Okay? It let's say that again. These books painted, and you know if you went to school, you know how they make slaves of black people and the presidents and all these people patriots and civilizers and make them look dignified. Not really the truth. They paint a rosy picture that is far from what really happened. And it made the enslaved people in the book now, because they made the Niji enslaved, it made them appear uncivilized and very grateful. Like so grateful to the civilizers for civilizing them. People who captured them, held them against their will. I'm grateful to you. If I was in that situation, no. And it introduced the manifest destiny to justify genocide and land theft. The manifest destiny. All right. So Niji aren't. It is an honor to support you, Coach. Hello. Niji weren't immigrants or enslaved Africans. We were prisoners of war, reclassified through legal, linguistic, and religious warfare. Okay? This gets a little deep, guys. It gets a little deep. So, paper genocide, forcing names, fake birth certificates, and erasing the Indian status. Indoctrination camps such as boarding schools and public schools. The Dawes role in census reclassification, mislabeling Niji as black, freedman, or Negro, giving you a color to represent you versus your true identity. And the prison to pipeline system. So if you miseducate people, it sets them up with economic traps, which sends them to incarceration. And every time someone is incarcerated, the prison makes money every day. It makes money. And through Noah's Webster's Dictionary, because Webster's Dictionary is just a man, a colonizer, and curriculum. And he changed the words, some words like freedom, citizen, Indian, enslaved, to make you get connected to it. Now, I was crying this week when I was reading some of this history because I felt like really bamboozled. When you hear people say that word, bamboozled, that's how I felt. Like let's see what this word really means. Bamboozled. Bamboozled, because that's how I be feeling. Like, what the hell? Let's go to it. Bamboozled. To fool or cheat someone. That's just a simple word. When you fool or cheat someone. That's what learning about your true history and all of these things does to you. It makes you feel like you've been bamboozled, like cheated out of your spot, like you've been tricked some kind of way. And it gets so deep. It gets so deep, and that's why most people are scared of knowledge. They're scared of the truth because you have to read. You have to really know who you are. And some people won't take the step to know who their grandparents are because it's a brainwashing mechanism. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're doing all the other things, connecting with strangers, connecting with everything but who you are, because you want to ignore it. It's too much. I was a slave. That's all I need to know. I'm grateful. And it go a little deeper than that. And I'm happy I woke up. I can't go back. After learning all of these things, I just learn more and more and more, and I'm just shocked at the level of stupidity and evilness and control that these people feel like they want to have over our life, and it's really, really heartbreaking. So that's why I cried this week. I cried because the president's lies. They're liars. And my soul is just remembering who my ancestors are. And when I do my genealogy and I connect those leaves and I see my great grandmas, and it just connects me to the truth, because they were here before these Webster Dictionary. They were here before these 1970 Act and all these different acts. My people were here. I have evidence of this. But let's carry on. Why was I crying? Because I realized a couple truths. Like George Washington, the man on the $1 bill, the one they highlighted in the history books as a hero. He ordered the burning of indigenous villages called the Town Destroyer. That was George Washington. He was called the Town Destroyer. But they erased that from the book. By the time it got to the school system, he was the town hero. But he said, burn the villages. He ordered that. George Washington. Thomas Jefferson, another one of y'all presidents, wrote about exterminating indigenous people and enslaved over 600 people. Thomas Jefferson. He wrote about it, about exterminating. You know how you get the exterminator to come and get rid of roaches and stuff? He exterminated people and enslaved over 600 people. Now the next one, Andrew Jackson, I damn sure don't like his ass, because he was in my neck of the woods, Florida. He passed the Indian Removal Act, led the Trail of Tears, causing mass death. Now in Tallahassee, aka Tallahassee, aka Appalachia, all of that, there is Lake Jackson. It wasn't originally Lake Jackson, but it became Lake Jackson after Andrew Jackson. After they came, started war, stole the land, and they named it Lake Jackson. And they also named it after his adopted son, Butler. Lake Butler was also, I think, Lake Okeechobee. I don't want to say the wrong name. Let's see. Let's see if I can look it up real quick. Andrew Jackson. Tallahassee got the mounds that we built because we were the Mississippians. I can't find it right now because they hid the name, but it's like Lake Okeechobee. I had to find it. But Abraham Lincoln authorized the largest mass execution in U.S. history. Abraham Lincoln. 38 Dakota men in 1862. Abraham Lincoln did that. Theodore Roosevelt. Just pick any one of the presidents. They all have a bloody, evil history. Evil. Evil at its finest. Theodore Roosevelt said, "I don't go as far to think that the only good Indian is a DEAD Indian." Okay, they're not heroes. These people are military strategists of genocide. In the textbooks, the publishers, the Websters, all of the publishing companies, school systems help cover up their crimes and turn them into saints. So now, if you're brainwashed, you think, oh my God, the president's our president. These people are evil. So what Trump doing ain't nothing compared to what his previous homeboys did. But Trump ain't no better though. He did order bombs and stuff. He ain't no better. But I'm just saying, back then, they was with the shits. So when you see what's going on now and you celebrate 4th of July, you're basically feeding into the times when all of these presidents were exterminating the indigenous Miji, the people, and erasing their history. They weren't giving them the clothes to wear and taking pictures and giving them reservations. No, they were erasing their history, stealing their land. So you gotta know the difference. Not Native American. We're not Native American. American Indian. Big difference. Okay? So the hardest realization that hits different for me is just knowing that I was born into a system created by liars, enslavers, and people who stole land. And knowing that I wasn't saved by going to school, but systemically erased out of history and taught pseudo history. Okay? And the presidents, they weren't protectors of my people. They weren't. They were war criminals in suits. Look at Trump. He ready to go to war anytime, any place. And the big, beautiful bill, it amps up the military defense and the war. It's all about war. Okay? It's all about war. And it's really, really sad. Really, really sad, guys. Just like Noah Webster, he rewrote English to reflect the American Christian values and erased the worldview of indigenous nations. This guy changed the word aborigine to mean primitive instead of original, because we were the aborigine of Turtle Island. He also changed Indian from sovereign nation to a subject of the government. Okay? They knew that if you could control the language, you could control the law, you could control the classroom, and then you could control the people. They can continue to push the propaganda. They can continue to erase who we are and make us think that we were from somewhere else that none of our documents go back to. Like, you can think you're from Africa, and if you are from there, your documents will lead you there. But they wanted to erase us here on Turtle Island. And it's really, really sad. So the Census Bureau is very, very important. That was a silent soldier of paper genocide. But in actuality, it kind of left footprints and fingerprints on who did what to what people. So in 1790, this is the same year as the Naturalization Act. That's when the Census Bureau was created in 1790. And it's not a coincidence. It was used to track the melanated Neji people, reclassifying them as Negro, colored, mulatto, or black. Eliminate tribal affiliation and deny us Indian not tax status, and instead make us taxable corporate property. Now that's the part that had me crying when I realized, damn, I'm a taxable corporate property of the government. That's why I have to pay taxes and go to work, and they control me. What? It had me so fucking like, what? Sad to know that if my ancestors were labeled black in the 1850s, they may not have been from Africa. They may have been Neji, but I know mine were Neji because I've done the genealogy. This is paper evidence of my actual ancestors. Okay? They had land, language, lineage, but the Census Bureau and the census records erased it. They had the pen and they can write down whatever they wanted and say that you were a Negro. Okay? And if you were labeled Indian tax or Negro, you are not sovereign. So they said you can't control yourself. We labeled you Negro. So we own you. You're our property. I know it sounds crazy, but ain't nobody gonna tell you like Dr. Sean gonna tell you. Somebody gotta be bold. And it's a lot of us being bold. That's how I wake up. I listen to other people who are bold and like, wait, what? I heard this white guy on YouTube talking about something we finna get into a little later, but he was so hurt. He was like, I can't believe that they lied, because they lied to everybody. It's not just the Neji coming out and talking. Everybody realizing like, damn, they really lied in these history books. And a lie will never hold up to the truth. I don't care which way, direction, how the wind blowing, if it's hot, cold, winter, fall. A lie ain't gonna hold up to the truth. Okay? It just is what it is. So the 1790 Naturalization Act, the reason why this stuff is important, guys, when they're passing all of these bills, you gotta keep up. Try to keep up. Because they're talking about these words right now in 2025, so you need not be ignorant, because remember, knowledge governs ignorance. So if you want to get out of the ignorant feeling like, damn, only thing I feel like I could do is vote and just be dumb and just see what the president is going to do. I told you what the presidents do. I told you what they have done. So we can't be banking on what the president's going to do. We need to wake up mentally. Alright? It's about to get wild. It's about to get wild. So the 1790 Naturalization Act said only free white persons could be citizens of the United States. This is 1790 now. When they made the Census Bureau, they started doing all the research on the people who are here to Neji, finding out how much land they had, how much crops they had. They was all up in their business, trying to figure out where they from. They were inhabitants. They didn't say immigrants. They were inhabitants on the Census Bureau. It's not rocket science, but if you ignorant, it's going to be foreign as hell. Okay? So they made the 1790 Naturalization Act. Only free white persons could be citizens. Only white men, no women, not Neji, not anyone melanated. Okay? Then they said, oh, well, dang, if we said they can't be citizens, that means we were still sovereign. We were still under our own self. They was just researching us. They said, dang, we have to include them. Otherwise, we can't get no money off of them. We can't use them. So people weren't around here talking about the 14th Amendment. They created the 14th Amendment almost 80 years later. 80 years later. So for 80 years, they said, nope, only white people can be citizens under our new shit. We running this shit. We don't want no other people. We don't want no melanated people. We don't want none of y'all, or we don't want nobody but us. They was like, No, we don't want y'all on our stuff. We should have never wanted to be under it anyways, and we never wanted to be under it. But they realized, oh dang, without including them, we can't rob them as much. So we gotta include them. We gotta make them. They was doing Census Bureau by this time at least 8, 9, 10 times. So they had so much information about our land, our property. It's just sad, man. So they created the 14th Amendment in 1868, not to free us, but to federalize us. To federalize us, to put us under their thumb. We became corporate citizens of the United States. Corporate citizens of the United States, which is a private corporation, not a country. You, me, became corporate citizens of the United States by the 14th Amendment in 1868. And you heard Trump say this was for the babies of slaves, the babies of the people who we made prisoners of war, stole all of their land, did all this to. You weren't no slave. You were a POW. Okay. It said that all persons or naturalized in the United States are subject to jurisdiction. This means you're not sovereign anymore by birth. You're subject to the rules of the government. That's what the 14th Amendment did. Made us under their authority. If you identify as black, Negro, the words that they created for you. Alright? We went from sovereign and needy nations to federal chattel assets. So you'll hear people say chattel slavery. That's what it is. It's not literally you're in chains, because my ancestors, when they was doing all this, they were inhabitants. That's what the census said. It didn't say anything about they were farmers. They were on their own land minding their business. Some people can't mind their business. Then they start making up stuff, and then this is what we have. This is how we get here today. Alright? We went from being sovereign, needy nations to federal chattel assets. And it gets deeper. I told y'all I got time today. Then they taxed us. They made us register for selective service. They taxed us now. Before, we wasn't a part of their system. They didn't want to include the needy. But then they was like, dang, we don't include them. They're going to be forever sovereign. We have to try to sneak them in and say that these Negroes is our property and tax them. Make them register for selective services. Make them fight in the wars. Come on now. And gave us a social security number to track us like property. That's what they did when they did the 14th Amendment. All of that. And I'm like, wow, it makes sense. Because I keep hearing 14th Amendment. Why y'all keep talking about the 14th Amendment? Why y'all keep... Oh. Makes sense now. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. And it's really sad. All of these presidents are on your money. They end the children's textbooks. They got monuments. Well, our grandmothers and grandfathers died without their land sometimes, with no tribe and no memory of who they are. The oral history gone. Erased. Okay? So we have to start with our genealogy, guys. To find our land, to find our bloodline, to find our truth. If you were part of my family, I did some of the work for you. At least for the part that you're part of my family in, because I did it for my mama's side, my daddy's side, my granddaddy, my grandma, my other granddaddy and grandma, my great-grandparents. I went back. I went back. Okay? We need to reclaim our status as needy, not tax. Because right now we're paying taxes to the Vatican, which we're going to get into next. And I know I get shadow banned a lot on here for talking about this true history, but, you know, whatever. It's cool. We still going to keep it moving, because the truth shall make us free. Alright? The system was never meant to free us. Like, never. It was never meant for us to be free. Okay? And this awakening is the greatest fear of this colonized system. Okay? Now, I was researching and I came upon something called Unum Sanctum and the global religious claim over your soul. This get a little deep. This get deep and dark. It had me like, what the hell? That we under a system that was never about freedom. It was about controlling us in the name of God. Controlling us in the name of God. So Unum Sanctum. Let's go look up Unum Sanctum. Unum Sanctum. Let's pull this up. The Unum Sanctum. What is the Unum Sanctum, Dr. Sean? What the hell they got to do with me? That's what I said. When I heard, I was like, what? What is this? It's always some BS with these. So Unum Sanctum. What does this have to do with us, guys? I just want you to see how it's spelled, so you can, do your research yourself. Just give you a uh-oh. My fan. Alright. Unum Sanctum. Okay? What is Unum Sanctum? So I want to introduce you to Unum Sanctum. This is a papal bull issued in 1302 by Pope Boniface VIII. Pope Boniface VIII. A pope. You know, the Vatican, the Pope, those people that they be let in and they gotta wait for this sign and pick the Pope. Okay, the Pope now. This is for my religious people out there who always want to use religion and like, I don't know nothing about all that. It's all by design that you don't really know what I'm talking about. Alright? So the Unum Sanctum is a papal bull issued in 1302 by Pope Boniface VIII. Now, let's write some things here. So this was 1302, and this was papal bull. So I know this word is a little tricky, so let's write it here so you can look this up, because you probably never heard of this. Hello, papal bull. This is the stuff they don't want you to know, because I always wonder about the Vatican and what they got to do with me, like the Pope and stuff. I'm like, that's overseas. You be like, that's overseas. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Yes, it do. So remember this: papal bull, Unum Sanctum. Okay, Unum Sanctum. Write this down. 1302. I know we're going back, but we got to start back. So, the Unum Sanctum, a papal bull, was issued in 1302 by Pope Boniface VIII. So, we're taking this to, I'm writing all over this, but this was written by Pope Boniface. Let's see what the Pope had to say, because you're thinking the Pope. Okay, the Pope got some religious to say. It's gonna be kind of, I guess, helpful, right? Nah, it ain't helpful. Pope Boniface VIII. I got this stuff all over my face. Okay. Yeah, this is too much going on here. Alright. So, Search solution, guys. Boniface. Oh man, I spelled it wrong. Pope Boniface the Eighth. All right. Okay. Pope Boniface the Eighth, and this is papal bull. All right, now I can talk. Okay, so the Unum Sanctum, a papal bull, was issued in 1302. Let's put that on here again. 1302. 1302, guys. 1302. And it says, we declare, say, define, and pronounce that it is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature be subject to the Roman pontiff. That's what Pope Boniface the Eighth said. That's what he said. How does this translate? It means that the Catholic Church, through the Vatican, claim divine ownership over every soul on earth. That's what Pope Boniface the Eighth, 1302, said when he made the Unum Sanctum, which is a papal bull. Bear with me, guys. We're gonna get here. He said, you know, every soul on the earth, they own. The Pope own. And it's getting worse. This was the original claim of right doctrine used to justify colonization of Turtle Island, enslavement of the Neji and African people, theft of land under the disguise of saving souls. They said, if you're not under the church, you're property. So the Unum Sanctum wasn't just spiritual, it was legal and financial, and it created the structure for birth certificates, trust, maritime law, and all caps on your ID. Cest tu se vi trust. Your living estate treated as lost at sea. So basically they made our vessel, our body become a vessel, our soul become a claim, and our name a corporate entity under Rome's control. Okay? Now they told us that the founding fathers, as they call them, the founding fathers, the founding liars, you mean? They said the founding fathers weren't separating the church and state to liberate us. They wanted to separate from the crown and the cross in Europe, so they could start their own empire of control. That's why it was so evil. They wanted to get from under the Pope and become their own popes. They wanted to rebrand God under democracy, law, and capitalism, and replace the robe with black judicial gowns. Okay? So that's why George Washington, Jefferson, Adams were Freemasons, and using esoteric Christian symbology, Roman Republic structure, and divine right ideology to control the masses. This is why the Capitol looks like the Vatican. This is why in the legal system they use Latin words and Latin terms like just soli, corpus juris, and habeas corpus. These are Latin words. This is why. Okay? So it's not freedom. Not at all. So this is getting a little deep because we get into like Latin and the Vatican and, you know, corporate codes and how they enslave the world. Right? So let's start with the language of the law, which is Latin. the all sacred tongue of Rome, the Vatican, and their dominion system, the law, Latin. Even here now, a lot of people, if you in the court, jail, you know what I'm talking about. It's all in Latin, so you can't understand it. So you need an attorney. Okay? You need an attorney. Right? So let's start with what is a trust, because your birth certificate is like a trust. A lot of people say they, trust fund babies. You heard the word trust before. If you from poverty, you probably don't know that you know about trust. But if you have wealth, you probably know about a trust. But everybody has a trust through their birth certificate. I'm still digging into that because I'm not a person who just believes like, oh my God, if I go get this trust, there's gonna be money here. But people say that, but I'm confused by that part. But I know that it really is a trust and it's connected to numbers some kind of way. It's kind of weird. I'm still digging into it. So a trust is a legal relationship where a trustee holds title for the benefit of a beneficiary. So we have trust, and the government holds a title for it because we're their property. If you have a birth certificate, okay, the birth certificate made you a trustee for the state. Your property, your body, your soul, and rights are held in a trust. It's crazy, right? Our whole soul and body is held into this birth certificate in a trust that we don't really control. Crazy. Like, what? I know this is getting confusing as hell. And then it's talking about the Holy See, which is Latin Sancta Sedes, meaning holy seat, the throne from which the Pope rules and claims dominion. The Pope sits on a literal legal throne, claiming jurisdiction over all the human creatures in the world, as they say. Okay. The Holy See is a sovereign legal entity that has more global power than most people know. It runs like a nation state with spiritual armor. Thanks for following. All right. So let's go to the papal bulls that stole the world. These are the documents from the popes in the past. When you hear popes, you're thinking overseas. If you're in America, you're like, oh, that's overseas. But I didn't realize how much influence they had on us here in Turtle Island. It is kind of shocking. All right. So we just talked about the Unum Sanctum, right? This document here by Pope Boniface the 8th. It claimed dominion over every human creature. Every human creature? How? How, Pope? Let me know how you can make this document and claim dominion over every human creature in the 1300s. So lost by that. This started the doctrine of universal, spiritual, and legal ownership? That's crazy. Like, I don't know if they was smoking Molly back then. What was they on back then to be writing shit like this? I don't really know. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward past 1302 to 1454 to the Romanist Pontifex. Let's see what let's pull up the Romanist Pontifex, because this is another one that another pope did. Romanist Pontifex. Romanist Pontifex. So this is the Romanist Pontifex. Romanist Pontifex. Ah, man, I keep dropping my fan. I need my little fan because I wear my hooded sweater because, it's merch, but it does get a little toasty. I need some t-shirts. But anywho, back to the lesson. So Romanist Pontifex was from Pope Nicholas V. Okay, what did the Romanist Pontifex basically say? I'm not going to read this whole thing. But it basically gave Portugal the right to seize the land of non-Christians and take their property and enslave them forever. The Pope made this now. What Pope? Who? Pope. Deep sigh. Psychotic Pope. I swear. Because what? This is 1454. You remember Columbus, Christopher Columbus, so-called, discovered America in 1492 now. So we went from 1302, which is the Unum Sanctum, which the Pope said, okay, we have dominion over every human creature on the earth. We own their spirit and their body. Crazy as fuck, right? Then 152 years later, they made the Romanist Pontifex, which gave Portugal, which is where Christopher Columbus was from, the right to seize land of non-Christians. So if you weren't Christian, they was going to take your land and give it to the Vatican. Take your property and enslave you because you weren't a Christian. What? Wait, what? What you repeat that again for me? Repeat that for the ones in the back. To seize land of non-Christians, take their property and enslave them forever? Okay. And the Romanist Pontifex, which we have right here, also established perpetual dominion, legal foundation for colonialism and chattel slavery, from this document right here. So when you hear chattel slavery all in America, this is the people who they get it from, the popes and the Vaticans. Like, what? Definitely a big ass side eye. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. You can go and read this word for word, look it up. But yeah, like, what pope? That ain't my pope at all. I don't follow the popes and stuff like that. But yeah, let's keep going. So that was 1454. Now we're going to go to 1481. Pope Sixtus the Fourth. I think that's the fourth. It's Roman numerals. I think it's the fourth. Pope Sixtus the Fourth. He made the Arterni Regis. Sounds like an attorney, right? Let's pull up the Arterni Regis. Arterni Regis. It's gonna be in Latin, so you can't really see it, but let's see if I can find a better one. Arterni Regis. It's in Latin, so let's see, how can I make this better? We're just gonna have to look at it how it really is, guys. So this is the Arterni Regis. Okay? And this was 1481. Pope Sixtus IV. A treaty between Spain and Portugal. So you remember, Christopher Columbus, he was from Portugal. But the Spain, they went to South America, right? So the treaty between Spain and Portugal gave Portugal all new lands, territories, and non-Christians to enslave. Now the Pope did this now in 1481. This is right before 1492. Think about it, guys. Put your thinking caps on, guys. Put your thinking caps on. Okay? The Arterni Regis, a treaty between Spain and Portugal, gave Portugal all new lands and territories and non-Christians to enslave. What? So if I'm not a Christian and I'm indigenous and I'm you're going to enslave me unless I become a Christian. And you can take my land. And the Pope told you this. And it was based on bloodline, not consent. So you were subject of the cross or a product of the conquest. Crazy work, man. This is crazy work, boy. Crazy work, boy. Psycho type activity. Psychoactivity, man. Psychoactivity. Then, okay, it's still going on. It's still, the Pope's still making stuff sound real psychotic. Okay. Then they came up with the Inter Caetera. Now this is what really set shit on fire. Not in a good way. Inter Caetera. This was Pope Alexander the Sixth. The Inter Caetera. Now I think which one would be a good picture. The Inter Caetera. I don't like that one. I think this is a good one. The Inter Caetera. Okay, yeah, this is a good one right here. Let's pull this. Let's pull this up, chat. Let's pull this shit up. We're breaking this down because I really want us to know this, man. And it's taking a while, but sometimes it take a little while to really drive the message home. Now look at this map, guys. It says Division de Mundo in Portugal in Castile Segundo is, I can't see the rest. Alcovas Tordesillas. So let's see. Let's figure out why I pulled this map up. So this has something to do with the Intercatera. So we're talking about papal bulls that the popes made from all these years. These are little laws that they made to say that they could control the whole world and make everybody a slave if they weren't Christian, basically. Okay? Yeah, okay? Okay. So Pope Alexander the Sixth, 1 year after Columbus's discovery of people on a whole continent, he didn't discover shit. Fucking lied. These publishers, remember the publishers who made the books, the Websters, they lied, right? So they made this 1 year after Christopher Columbus discovered a whole bunch of people. It gave Spain, because remember, Spain and Portugal, they made a treaty in 1481 to say, hey, Portugal can enslave non-Christians, or anybody who sold it they wanted. So it gave Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella, all lands west of Azores, even those not yet discovered. That's what this thing did. And the crown and the cross became one. The crown, which is the Vatican, and the cross, the Pope, became one. This is how they claimed Turtle Island, which is America, Tamarica, the Caribbean, and South America. All this was justified as saving souls, but not about claiming souls. I mean, it was justified. They said that they were saving souls, but really they were claiming your soul, your land, and your body. So look at this map, right? This was the Intercatera, Pope Alexander the Sixth, 1493, with Columbus. So you'll see the yellow areas. It says the Pope said, okay, that will be the Spain. The Spain can have the yellow areas. Y'all gonna have these. Anybody over there? These y'all own them now. And then the white area, it said Area Dominion Portuguese. So they said all the white areas is Portuguese. And then they said the other areas on the other side, where the Pacific Ocean, they said this is also Espanol. Y'all can make this Spanish. So that's why you'll see Mexico, South America, Espanol, because the Spanish people from Spain went over there and colonized it. You'll see like the islands where Columbus landed first, colonized. He pulled up to the island and named it Isabella and Ferdinand. And I was always wondering why he thought he could do something like that. Now it makes sense because they got these orders from the Pope. Christopher Columbus got his orders from the Pope to come and unalive anybody who wasn't Christian. So when Christopher Columbus pulled up, he was handing out Bibles. He was putting up crosses. He was renaming everything. He didn't know the people. He was just saying, oh, he was kidnapping people. The things that will make you truly cry. You know, it'll make you cry. And they said they were saving your soul. Yeah. Let's move forward. So the CESV goes to 1666. So we're going past this because this was 1493. So after they started unaliving the people, seizing the land, kidnapping people, all of that stuff, then, you know, in 1666 they created the Ceste Que Vi Act and the Great Plague of London. So what happened was, in London there was the Great Plague of London. A lot of people were dying. A lot of people were dying from the plague, right? And they didn't know what to do with all the property. So the Pope made up something else. They made up something else. They made up something else. They made up the Cystic V. I mean, Stu K Act. So let's look this up because this all has something to do with the Niji man. It's just sad. It's sad. It's really sad, man. How they had me so bamboozled and tricked, man. I don't like that shit. So Sestu K, I'm gonna say Sestu KV. I don't care if it's how to really say it. Sestu KV Act 1666, also known as the Proof of Life Act, was passed in 1666 by Westminster in the ruling classes. Okay? So with people dying by the thousands, the British Crown declared anyone missing or dead as legally dead in the trust. This was in London now. And it created a fictional person. It created a person on paper. So if they couldn't find you or you were missing from the Great Plague in London, then they made a piece of paper and they said you were legally dead in trust, right? And they created the fictional person. All your property went into the trust once they said you were dead, and they put it on paper unless a relative came forward to claim your belongings or your assets, right? So your birth certificate is a bonded trust instrument. It was created without our consent, and that's why it's written in all caps, your legal fiction name. And it's called Capitis Diminutio Maxima, full loss of rights. You are no longer sovereign, just a vessel of commerce. So on your birth certificate, it has all capital letters of your name, which is your legal fake name, known as Capitis Diminutio Maxima. Alright, so they created the Seskev Act in 1666 because so many people were dying and they didn't know what to do with all the property. So they said if they thought you were missing or dead, then all your stuff went into the trust and they owned it. And nobody came to claim it, they could keep it. Alright, I know this was in London, but the birth certificate here is also called the same thing. So you'll start to notice a lot of these things are beginning to overlap. Capitis Diminutio Maximum. Let's look this up. Alright. We're going to keep it moving along. Okay. So, with U.S. Code Title 28, 3002, 15A, it means that the United States is a federal corporation. And with the Act of 1871, so we went from 1666 with the Sestekeviu, okay, in London, and they brought that over here, okay, because Columbus, the war, all of that was going on in 1700s, now 1790, all these acts and Congress just making up stuff, right? You can see how the Pope did it. That's how they learned how to do it. They just was lying, saying that your soul was theirs and they never knew you, never knew who you was, never seen your land. It just was crazy like that. They said, yep, your soul mine when I see you. What? Who told y'all that? Okay, fuck out of here, man. Anywho, yeah. Okay. So the Act of 1871 incorporated the District of Columbia. It made District of Columbia a business. The Act of 1871. Okay. And then in 1889, Washington becomes a state corporation. So these states are new business corporations. They haven't always been here. I know it seems like they always been here, but the first state that become a corporation was in 1889, almost 1900, not even over 100 years ago. Well, a little over 100 years ago. Now every state has a corporate franchise. That's why it's the United States of businesses and corporations, basically. 1933, bankruptcy. The U.S. went back under the British Crown via the IMF and Bank of England in 1933 because they pretty much went bankrupt. Then they created the 1935 Social Security Act. So we went from the birth certificate where they put all your stuff in the trust that you don't even know that it exists, right? And then 1935 they made the Social Security Act. You became a numbered product of the corporations that are now states. Now you a product of the state. So your birth certificate, your social security, your driver's license, your mail, your legal ID register you as chattel in a trust. Chattel in a trust. Mm-mm-mm. You can't make this up. And y'all still want to celebrate 4th of July? Please. Fuck out of here, boy. What? Hold on, shit. In my brain. Okay? So have you ever wondered why courtrooms look like churches? Because they are. Judges wear black robes, and they are the priests of the legal temple. Okay? They are on a raised platform called a diocese, which means they're the throne of judgment. The flags with gold fringe equals maritime commercial jurisdiction. So that means that you're under the federal government. Okay? You walk through the bar, you're now a subject, not a sovereign. And the oath, the confession, the punishment equals Catholic sacrament. So it's not about justice, it's about control, guys. It's about control. Okay? They taught us to pledge allegiance at age of 5. They gave us Columbus Day to celebrate genocide. They gave us 4th of July to celebrate massacres. Okay? They gave us a serial number to our soul with our social security number. And they made us pain. They made pain profitable. And made our life taxable when we weren't originally taxable or controlled this way. And it all started with the Latin laws, the religion, and reclassification through those papal bulls. It's crazy. Crazy, guys. And then I went a little deeper. I was talking to the chief, and he made me go a little deeper. I was like, wait, what? It go deeper than this? We already did, we already kind of like shocked as hell, baffled, bamboozled, tricked, stolen from. What more could there be? So he was telling me about the kings in Mexico. Okay? And we ran into the name Hernan Cortez. Now who the fuck is Hernan Cortez? I thought it was just Christopher Columbus, but it's a whole gang of conquistadors, boy. They boy, look at here. Hernan Cortez. Who is this guy? This is Hernan Cortez, guys. Definitely not part of the broadcast for something positive. He was as evil as they come, just like his friend Christopher Columbus. Just like his friend. Okay? This is Hernan Cortez. Hernan Cortez. Who is Hernan Cortez? So Hernan Cortez is going to take us back a little bit to the 1400s, because I know we jumping around with the timeline, but hopefully you can follow what's going on. So Hernan Cortez was born in 1485 in Medellin, Spain, and he died in 1547 in Castilla, Castilleja de la Cuesta. And he was the conquistador of New Spain, aka Mexico. They called it New Spain. And he was backed by the Spanish crown and indirectly by the Catholic Church. This guy was backed by the Catholic Church and the Spanish crown. So you remember it was making all the papal bulls and saying you can go and steal this land, because he's coming around the same time Columbus, a little bit after, I would say. So Cortez was the military hand of papal bulls we talked about. So earlier we talked about the Romanus Pontifex in 1454. We talked about the Attorney Regis in 1481. We talked about the Inter Caetera in 1493 when the Pope said all the souls is ours, all the land you can go take, it belong to us. I don't care who own it, they mine. I don't care what it look like, it's mine. Go get it. So there was the physical hands, right? So Hernan Cortez used these papal bulls, which gave Spain divine permission to invade, convert, and conquer all non-Christian territories. Cortez followed orders like a religious mercenary. So they was trying to get all the people who weren't Christian, and if you didn't convert, they were gonna unalive you. Who knew Christianity was so evil? Who knew this? Alright. So what did he do? 1519 to 1521, the fall of Mexico, the Aztec Empire. So Cortez landed on the shores of what is now present day Mexico. He burned his ships to force total conquest, manipulated the tribes to turn against each other, kidnapped the king, Montezuma. He led the massacre of Tlaxcala, where he completely demolished it and killed all the people during ceremony. And he brought smallpox to the village, and that killed 90% of the Indians. 90% from just disease. And he was working under the Pope. So remember all those papal bulls? He carried the cross and he carried the sword. Okay? It says Cortez baptized indigenous children to be Christian right before killing their parents. Yes, these people was psycho, man. They're gonna make the kids Christian, baptize them, and kill the parents. That sounds crazy to me. He forced conversions to Catholicism, and those who didn't want to do it, they were executed. Can you imagine? You know what I mean? Can you imagine? They seized the gold, the land, the labor, in the name of civilizing heathens. So they called the Indians heathens. He stole the gold and the silver from the indigenous temples, sacred codices and documents. He burnt all of the documents. He took over the land rights. He stole their language and their identity, and forced Spanish and Catholic names on needy people. The Vatican and Spain became filthy rich from doing these acts of genocide. And the trauma that carried on in Mexico is passed down through the bloodline. Really sad, guys. Really, really sad. Really, really sad. Okay? So unless we learn the truth, all of this colonized history about pilgrims coming and being happy and not doing anything, then we're going to forever be lost. Forever be lost. We're going to forever be lost. forever. Okay. So I'm on the last little part of this. But how do we connect all of these? You know, Hernan Cortez, because you probably never heard of him if you're in America. You didn't know that he was just like Columbus, but on steroids. Okay? So, what happened? We already talked about the Treaty of Tordesillas. I don't know if I talked about the Treaty of Tordesillas. Maybe I didn't. But the 1494 Treaty of Tordesillas was the Pope opinion in a map. So basically, after Christopher Columbus landed, Spain and Portugal argued over who had rights to the New World. That was the map that I showed you guys earlier. So to prevent a Catholic civil war, Pope Alexander VI issued the Inter-Caetera Papal Bull in 1493, which I already talked about. And that divided the lands. West, Spain get everything, and East, Portugal get everything. That was just that crazy. That was just that crazy. That was just that crazy, guys. It was just that crazy. They was just that crazy. So let's take him off here, because, yeah, no, we don't like you, sir. We don't like none of y'all. We don't like none of y'all. So, I know that was a lot to talk about, but you'll see why I don't really celebrate 4th of July. I cannot celebrate the history that stems from none of these presidents, none of these popes, none of these colonizers. I can't celebrate it, because knowledge will forever govern ignorance. Something I'll never forget. James Madison. Realizing who was really in control. And I'm still like new to this. I'm still growing in this knowledge, and that's what it's about, just learning every single day and not being closed-minded and blocking the knowledge because you've been brainwashed, or blocking the knowledge because it just sound crazy, because these are popes. This is in history. This is why you got to go back. And I'm interested to go even further back, like before they came over here. There's a lot of melanated statues and just things that were already on Turtle Island. The mounds, the pyramids here on Turtle Island that let us know that we were here before anybody. So we just gotta keep learning, not be afraid to talk about these things, and do it unapologetically. Because when they were doing these things and just sending orders to control souls, they were doing it like they didn't care. So I feel like as Nija, we have to represent ourselves without a care, because you can't stay silent. You can't worry about how people feel. You can't. This ain't about friendship. This is about knowing who you are, standing on your truth, and getting out of the matrix. Everybody ain't gonna get out. You've seen the movie. Some people gonna be like the lady in the car at the end who was trying to be like, hey, I'm gonna take you before I leave. I'm gonna take you before I get unbrainwashed. You ain't finna unbrainwash me. That's how it is. So it's just crazy. It's really crazy to me. And that's why I cried, because I realized, dang, they really got us like as like chattel slave. Like, what? It's crazy. It's crazy. And we talked about the black codes. That was right around the time all this was happening. We talked about the black codes controlling people through labor contracts. Like, it was illegal not to go to work. It was illegal not to go to school. Like, children, melanated children, were forced to work for white employers. Like, it was just bad. It was bad. It was really bad, guys. But as you go along this on today, July the 4th, 2025, just remember who you are. Don't feel like you're missing out on shit because you're not celebrating these colonized holidays. And now you know why. I was really shocked, honestly, to find out I'm not Catholic at all. I'm not religious at all anymore. I'm more spiritual. And I was just shocked to find out the influence that all of the popes in the past had and the things that they made, the papal bulls that they made. That was just a couple of them. You can imagine over hundreds of years of things that they said and the laws that they made and the psychosis that went on to think that you can control somebody's soul. Like, what the fuck? I digress. My niece, we've been bamboozled. But don't be bamboozled anymore. Learn your history. Know who you are. So that you can stop thinking that you don't deserve more. Stop thinking inside of the box. Stop thinking that, you feel like life is a setup for failure. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It's set up to be that way. I didn't have no ad. It's set up to be that way, guys. It's set up to be this way, guys. So that's why I don't celebrate, because I'm just too, I guess I'm just too woke and disgusted with a government that not only was founded on this bullshit, but still stand on this bullshit. They still stand by this shit. They still like with it. They still with the shits, man. They still with the lies. They still just with the lies. And it's really sad. I know it makes me sad to know what people went through back then. Just to be living your life one day and then people pull up on a boat and just take your family. They just pull up and start just controlling you. For generations, though. Not just one day, just for generations. It's just like you living in hell now. It's sad, man. It's sad. Most people too busy strolling. Most people don't have a long attention span to even learn about none of this or themselves. But hey, the knowledge is out there. You just gotta go get it. And you can't believe what I say. Don't believe what I say. Look it up for yourself. Go do some digging for yourself. Each one teach one. Don't let your kids think the presidents was gods. Like, no, they weren't, man. They weren't. Like, it was the furthest thing from that. The furthest thing from it. And this is the system that was built. Okay? It's really sad. Oh. That's my message for tonight. Got a little deep. Sometimes you gotta go deep to really bring it home. Hopefully something stuck for you. And I'm gonna get on off of here. It's like I said, my back is a little achy, but I'm still trying to be consistent with my podcast and showing up. But some days it get tough and they get a little intimidating. to show up like this, but I still do it. Still trying to be the dental streamer, find my lane, and just do all things Dr. Sean. Like, you never know what you're gonna get on the Hood to Hood podcast. That's for sure. Because when I learn something, I bring it to y'all. I bring it to y'all because I find it interesting. I find it like mind-boggling. I find it bamboozling. So I feel like, dang, people need to hear this. But the thing is with YouTube, Facebook, when I stream from a platform that pushes it out to other places, it doesn't really get the reach that it needs. So make sure you're sharing, make sure you're liking, make sure you're commenting, make sure you're engaging, so that y'all can get Dr. Sean out of, what is this? Algorithm jail. Because I've been in algorithm jail for a minute. So, I'm just going with the flow. One day I'll be out of algorithm jail. Once I do things that line up perfectly in the world, let's colonize as apps. I know these apps colonize, so. Yeah, guys. So tomorrow, which is today, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't looking at no fireworks. I ain't doing none of that. Don't tell me happy 4th of no July, because I don't give a damn. Okay, dude? I don't give a damn about that holiday. Not even one single. I don't give a damn. Don't. And don't. And don't. Don't. So yeah, I probably just chill out, and maybe Saturday go find some water. Yeah, probably gonna be busy tomorrow. It's a holiday, federal holiday. I'll probably do some paperwork. Regular Dr. Shizzy type shit. Regular Dr. Shizzy type stuff. Let's see where we at on Twitch, guys. Let's see. I got 106 followers on Twitch. Twitch all showing out for the kid. And then on my other one, I got 15 on Kick. I'm still just slow grinding on YouTube. I think the lives are kind of hurting my growth on YouTube. Or maybe I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out YouTube. One day I'll get where I'm supposed to be on YouTube, eventually. It could take another year or two, I don't know. But I'm on like year 10 or 11 on YouTube. Maybe once I blow up, you'll know. Once I blow up, you guys will know. But I feel like I need to do more actual videos, like crop my videos, shorten them up, because the attention spans are not this long. But I don't want to burn myself out, so I'm getting off of here, guys. I'm getting off of here. Thank you for the people who dropped through to chat with me. CB Kids, the last one left. Was someone else. If I missed you, my bad. So yeah, guys, peace out.